something I do a lot on this channel that people seem to really enjoy is talking about Gotham, and something I seem to do a lot that people really enjoy is talking about Gotham's Joker and where the story's going and how I feel about it and everything. And now I'm left in that weird interim period where there's no Gotham episode for 4 freaking weeks now, and the Joker hasn't appeared for a while. So I've just been kind of trying to come up with new content that people will find entertaining all the same, but I guess I thought maybe to throw a bone to that Gotham audience that really like the Joker, we could maybe discuss that other Joker origin story. The one that Warner Brothers is working on with Todd Phillips and Martin Scorsese. The one that's due for release later this year, in case anyone forgot. I mean, I sure as heck forgot until I really started thinking about it. Now, I won't lie, I'm kind of interested in this project from a very foundational level of that. I know that Martin Scorsese is involved, and they've got a great cast involved and everything like that, and it's Batman, so naturally they've got my attention, but at the same time, you know, I feel a bit jokered out recently, to be honest. Like, I've enjoyed The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, I've loathed the Jared Leto version, I've really enjoyed Cameron Monaghan's interpretation of the character, and I enjoyed him in the Lego Movie and the Arkham games, and all of these things are pretty current that now when we get to this outside of universe Joker Oscar bait film, I'm just kind of, okay then, it's more of the Joker. But I mean, I love this character. I was going to make an origin fan film myself back when I was younger, and it was a role that I've always kind of wanted to play myself. I was like, wow, how cool will it be to be the Joker? He's kind of infectious in his way. Like, sometimes, honestly, I just stare in the mirror at midnight, just smiling at myself, just to see if there's a little bit of that in me. And anyway, I'm getting beside myself. Let's talk about the Arthur Fleck movie, aka Joker, aka Gamers Rise Up, Joker, whatever you want to call it. The description of the film is as follows. Todd Phillips' exploration of Arthur Fleck, Joaquin Phoenix, is a man disregarded by society. It is not only a gritty character to study, but also a broader cautionary tale. So, it's pretty vague. I mean, like, I understand why a Joker origin story would be a cautionary tale. Hey, don't lose your grip, don't go insane. You know, he's a bad guy. You don't want to be like the Joker. But I'm going to kind of try and piece together what sort of movie we could be getting from this, going by evidence such as casting and set photos and everything, and we're just going to sort of go through this together. So what we know is that the film is set in Gotham in the 1980s, which I'm really pleased about, because I've been wanting them to set a Batman film in the 1980s since the Christopher Nolan films, because I just feel that when you set these things in the past, it makes for a more stylized movie that won't age so badly. But I think the thing is they're trying to make films for today's audiences so that they can then reboot them for tomorrow's audiences, and then tomorrow's audiences after that, and then they can just keep it going and just be a big financial vacuum, you know? But, okay, so the original rumors kind of indicated that Joaquin Phoenix would play a stand-up comedian who kind of turns to a life of crime eventually, and eventually, obviously, that will go to criminal insanity, and then, you know, he reaches a breaking point in his life and career, and it all goes to heck. And we've got characters played by Robert De Niro, who are expected to play, like, a major role in the sort of evolution of the Joker, from Arthur Fleck to the Joker. And, I'm sorry, I've got to acknowledge this. Arthur Fleck, take his first initial, A, Fleck, Affleck. Is that intentional? Are we trying to make him kind of like, ooh, he's the mirror image of Batman by making this really meta joke about a guy that's no longer Batman? Well, I don't think that's intentional. It just makes me think of A Bug's Life, to be honest. Arthur Fleck. It's got a ring to it, though. I'm glad they've done that instead of Jack Napier, because that's almost become kind of a punchline after a while. So, what we know is that it's going to focus on the Joker, but it will include characters like Bruce Wayne, Alfred Pennyworth, Thomas Wayne. They'll all play kind of roles in the film. Douglas Hodge is meant to be playing Alfred Pennyworth. Meanwhile, Dante Pereira Olsen, if I'm pronouncing that right, he's set to be playing the young Bruce Wayne, and that's like the third young Bruce we've had in quite a while. But there we go. Now, I think a lot of people are going to sort of go into this film and probably be a bit disappointed, because I think they've made a point of saying that this film takes place outside of the DC Extended Universe, and I think because of that they're going to come some creative liberties in, like, the Joker's design and sort of the atmosphere of Gotham City and everything. And I think that's the thing, is like, we've all seen this design of the Joker now, which is sort of more of a Ronald McDonald sort of looking guy, more of a generic clown paint sort of get up and everything, and I think he initially has that because he works in sort of like a mascot sort of career profession sort of thing, and it eventually evolves into a more gruesome look, which is the one that we're seeing most of. But I think a lot of fans are probably going to be a bit disappointed when he doesn't go into like a vat of acid or get his skin bleached or something like that. I think this is the final look, because if you want classic Joker, sad as it is, the Jared Leto version is the one we're supposed to invest in. And that is a fallacy. Yeah, but I think design-wise, actually, I don't dislike this look. Like, it's very much a left turn from your typical Joker appearance, and I'm actually okay with that. I'd definitely rather that than the Jared Leto version. I mean, like, this doesn't look dated. It looks sort of timeless, just like a usual sort of party clown sort of look. And it's not so much the Joker, but it does have the things in there that do make the Joker more or less. But I think it's an okay look. I just wonder if I just think this because I've been so beaten down by the Jared Leto version, how much that look offended me when it first came out. That I'm just like, yeah, okay, as long as there's no tattoos, that'll do the trick. Looking further at these set photos, though, you can see in this image here, the Joker's not alone. He's got some folks behind him, and I think looking at this photo would lead me to believe that the Joker is something of like a rebel political activist, as he's followed by these other clowns carrying protest signs speaking out against Thomas Wayne. And whether or not this is an allegory for a potential uprising against out-of-touch politicians that do not see the struggles of daily life for the 99%, or the genesis of the chaos against the established order that the Joker is often known for in more recent adaptations, it could go one of two ways, and I'm kind of a little worried about that. See, originally it was Alec Baldwin that was set to play Thomas Wayne, and the reason I mention this is because it's been stated that Thomas Wayne in this story is the mayor of Gotham City and is inspired by Donald Trump, which makes the fact that Alec Baldwin was eyed for the role no coincidence. Am I the only one that is just completely done and over Trump allegories? Am I the only guy here that's just kind of fed up of it now and just kind of wants to let fiction be fiction, like? And I think that's what rings the alarm bells for me, is like this whole story with clowns uprising on a political landscape. For starters, it sounds awfully familiar to American Horror Story Cult, and while I am one of the minority that actually really enjoyed Cult, for the fact that it kind of wasn't so one-sided about all of it, it wasn't trying to be too woke, like we saw, anti-Trump people portrayed as bad, we saw pro-Trump people portrayed as bad, and there were good and bad mixed up in all of it. I liked that. But is that a story I want applied to DC Comics and the Joker? No. I mean, admittedly, the character of Kai reminds me of the Joker, but if anything, that's really even more reason as to why that would be an unnecessary story if that's the path we're going down. And another thing is, like, the Joker's a very timeless character. This is something that people seem to regularly get wrong in trying to give him a sense of narrative wokeness, or in other cases, give him a new look that's fresh with a capital P. Well, there is always a fear of dictatorship. I feel that in the new age of hysteria towards Donald Trump and other Trump archetypes, that will eventually become dated. However, the film is set in the 1980s, which is a positive thing I have to say about this, because the film is doing something I've been wanting to see in a DC movie for a while and taking it back in time to the 1980s. The thing is, logically, it would be in the 1980s if it were to connect to like the Ben Affleck version, so I don't know, like, it's definitely not a part of the DC Extended Universe unless we were to imply that this is a different Joker, but at the same time, one would have to question how this timeline fits together, because Thomas Wayne is still alive, which means that Bruce Wayne is just going to be a young pup, and Joaquin Phoenix is, he's a fully grown adult, so by the time Bruce Wayne becomes Batman, the Joker would be very old by now. Unless we are going the Danny Cannon, John Stevens route of doing things, where it's like, it's not the Joker, it's just it's a prototype. Okay, well, we've kind of already done that in Gotham, and they did it very well there. I think the thing that does excite me about this is it is a Joker origin movie, and I think there's more fun to be had with a Joker origin movie than there are others, because it's open to so much interpretation. There is no set-in-stone narrative direction in which the Joker's origin goes, which allows for a lot of creativity. And I'm hoping that the film we get is one that's creative and not just one that is politically woke. Because I'm kind of just done with everyone attacking Trump, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. See, here's the thing. I freaking would not call myself a Trump fan by any stretch. Like, I find the guy paints an embarrassing picture of the 1%, of the politicians and everything. Just like I feel the same way about Theresa May, more or less. I feel that the fact that we have leaders like this now casts a really unfortunate and unflattering shadow on Western society, and it's not one that is truly deserved. But I've kind of had it with just hearing about it, you know? Like, I want to go see a Joker movie. I want to go see a guy acting nuts and fun and getting up to weird antics and bad stuff. And I guess that's what we've got in Gotham. But it's like, I get the feeling that, like, maybe just the business heads at Warner Brothers were just sitting around going, what's something people talk about these days? Donald Trump? Yes, that fellow. Why not make a movie about him? Who's a very popular character? The Joker. Can we make a Trump movie about the Joker? We can absolutely extort all of that cash. But then there is, like, the talent that's involved, which leads me to believe otherwise, you know? It's a very conflicting picture, this Joker movie so far. We could be in for a classic, a genuinely really good film that just sees itself as a film and doesn't feel any need to connect it to the obligatory ties of the comic books, and that could be something that we've been needing. But at the same time, it could just be the same monotonous message again. Like, I feel like the media... I'm not saying it needs to fully detach itself from politics by any stretch, because that completely goes against the whole idea of George Orwell's sort of communicating sort of a message that kind of needs to apply to a greater society. But ultimately, Trump supporters and Donald Trump and people like that are not going to watch this movie and go, oh gosh, no, I shouldn't have voted for that guy. They're just going to be like, oh, that was a movie. Like, ultimately, you usually can't give a message that strong to a demographic that are not gonna be prepared to listen. So that kind of just sums up my verdict on woke Hollywood, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. We don't know for sure whether or not this movie is going to be a political movie or not, but I believe it's about sort of a man that's part of the 99% that's sort of going through the basic hardships of life, and the idea is it's meant to kind of reflect us in a way, and then we see him become the Joker, and it's sort of a scary thing, because like, it could happen to you, it could happen to you, it could happen to me, even. It's going to have kind of a similar message to Into the Spider-Verse, where it's like, you can wear the mask. I don't know. Like, I'm gonna wait till we get a trailer. Like, at the end of the day, if it's a distraction from the Jared Leto version, at least, and I'm hoping that maybe in the future the DC Extended Universe will get the Joker right. I mean, we're set to have a Batman movie that's more a flashback sort of thing, so maybe we could see a younger Joker before he becomes a complete and utter barrel of cringe. Who knows? Yeah. Well, that was awfully long for an unscripted video. Apologies for that, but that's just my 2 cents on the Joaquin Phoenix, Todd Phillips Joker movie. And for the record, I guess, like, I'm more excited for this because I know that Martin Scorsese is working in the production aspect of this than I am Todd Phillips, because I believe his main claim to fame is The Hangover, and I don't like The Hangover. But that is what it is. I mean, I guess it's about the project the guy's working on more so than it is the guy. I'm sure he's a good director and all. So yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you guys think? Are you looking forward to the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie? What sort of thing are you expecting? You know, would you like it to be a more political narrative? Would you like it to be something like that? Personally, I think it would be really cool if they did a movie a bit like a film called Look Who's Back, which is a German film, and it basically is all about Adolf Hitler kind of being resurrected in the modern day, just completely out of nowhere, mysteriously just appears. And he's not being taken seriously. People don't initially realize he's the real Hitler or anything, and he becomes something of a meme. He's something everyone laughs about. But it gradually becomes clearer through his actions and his power over people that this man is definitely the real Hitler, and his plans are all coming together in a very different way to how we knew them in World War II. And the end message is like, you can't truly kill Hitler. He will always be a part of you. He will always be a part of your mind. He will live on in the discontent of the world. And I thought, that's a really scary message. And they follow up like footage of terrorism and stuff over the end credits. And it's like, yeah, I'd like a movie like that about the Joker, where like people see like the Joker just appears one day and people assume, oh, it's a cosplayer, it's a mascot, he probably works for someone. Oh, how cute. And then it turns out he's actually doing all the things the real Joker would do. And then the ending twist is like, you can't kill him because you are the Joker. He's within you. He's that little voice that's laughing. He's your future in a way. That I'd watch. That would be great. I don't mind giving me a message if it's one that freaks me out and scares me. And to be fair, that is what Joaquin Phoenix said about this film. As he said, it's a scary movie. It's got a scary message to it. So I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic on this one. So, what do you guys think of this movie? Did you enjoy this video? Comment below and discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want more like it, don't forget to click subscribe, hit the like button, and if you've done that already, well, what can I say? You're a legend. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.